Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to tell you a series of stories. And look, these aren't fictional tales just to give you a scare. Now, these are gripping, true accounts. Really terrifying, close calls from the world of snowboarding and skiing. Thrilling, yes, but often pretty unforgiving. Our mission today really is to recount these moments, intense moments where lives genuinely hung by a thread, and importantly, to try and pull out some powerful sobering lessons from right on the edge of disaster. The material we're using today, it comes from a collection of, they're labeled Horrifying Close Calls videos. And they really paint a vivid picture of just how extreme, how unpredictable these situations can get.
It's true. What's really clear in these situations is the raw, untamed power of nature, especially when you mix in high-speed activity.
Exactly.
These stories, they really drive home that even the most seasoned skiers or snowboarders can face dangers they just didn't see coming. Genuinely life-threatening ones.
And it's that unpredictability we want to unpack a bit. Let's start with a really harrowing account from France. Picture this. A father and his 11-year-old son. They're out snowboarding, enjoying, that fresh powder.
Mm-hmm.
They decide to ride off the marked path, looking for that untouched snow, right? But the father, he just couldn't see it. This hidden danger, they called it a crass in the source.
Right, a crap.
Now, maybe not everyone knows that term. The video used it. Maybe it's common in some mountaineering circles. But basically, it's a deep crack or a hole in the ice surface. And the terrifying part, it was completely covered by snow. Just looked like everything else.
Invisible.
Totally. And without any warning, the father just plunges headfirst into this chasm. The only reason he didn't fall deeper, just into the abyss, was his snowboard. It's somehow wedged against the icy walls.
Wow. Just pure chance, almost.
It really seems like a terrifying moment. Luckily, his son, who was nearby, actually saw it happen, heard his dad's cries for help.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, the son rushes back, but, he's 11. He realizes he can't pull his dad out alone, so he calls for help. And here's the incredible part, like an astonishing twist of fate. 3 doctors, who they had actually passed earlier on the slope, they miraculously came back and helped. They dug the father out.
That's unbelievable luck. Doctors right there.
I know, and the video footage from this, it really shows you just how deep that hole went. If his son hadn't seen him fall, hadn't been right there, he could have easily plummeted way down, maybe too far to ever be found or rescued.
It's a perfect example of what we sometimes call unknown unknowns in these environments. It's not just that the danger is hard to spot, it's that it's sort of outside what we normally think of as a risk.
Right.
So just to clarify, a crass like this, it's often like a deep melt hole or a fissure. It forms from water runoff or, thermal dynamics under the snow, creates this vertical trap. Looks totally stable from above. It really demands an almost, paranoid level of caution if you go off the marked trails.
That's a really powerful point. It just highlights how deceptive these beautiful landscapes can be.
Okay, moving to another incredibly deceptive danger, also in snowy places, the tree well.
Ah, yes. Tree wells.
A lot of people, maybe even experienced skiers, don't fully get just how dangerous these are. So picture a big evergreen tree after heavy snow. The area right around the trunk under the lowest branches, it just doesn't get packed down like the open snow nearby.
Yeah, it stays loose.
Exactly. It creates this deep hollow, the tree well, and it can act like a silent trap almost. Mm-hmm. Sucks a person in if they ski or snowboard too close. Mm-hmm. And we have another really scary story involving a father and son here too. The son, sadly, got too close to a tree, and boom, he was pulled into one of these wells.
Oh, no.
The absolute terror of it was that the son couldn't breathe. He was trapped under the snow.
That sounds horrific. What is it about tree wells that makes them so uniquely deadly compared to maybe other falls?
That's a really important question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's not just falling. It's the way the snow behaves in there. When you fall in, especially head first, which is common, the loose snow just collapses around you instantly. It can create like an immediate suffocation hazard.
Right. No air pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because the snow is so unstable and loose inside the well, it's incredibly hard to get any leverage, to try and pull yourself out. It's a danger that kind of goes against our intuition about snow. We think of snow as soft, right? But here, it can be a death trap.
Yeah.
It really raises that question about how our instincts for danger can sometimes, mislead us. In places that look beautiful, seem safe, but aren't. The danger isn't always obvious until, it's potentially too late.
And that statistic you hear about tree wells, responsible for something like 20% of all ski-related deaths, that just hits home.
It's a shocking number.
Yeah, a really stark reminder about the hidden dangers just lurking out there. even in these beautiful winter scenes. Okay, let's shift focus a bit now. From the natural hazards, let's talk about mechanical ones, which for a lot of people are a source of maybe deep-seated fear. Ski lifts.
The lifts, yeah, definitely a common fear.
It is, right? You're suspended way up high, totally relying on machinery. And there have been, sadly, quite a few ski lift horror stories online, some even involving fatalities, unfortunately. One really alarming incident happened back in 2018. This was at Georgia's Eastern Gorey Resort. The horror just started suddenly. The chairlift went completely out of control.
So.
Instead of going forwards up the mountain, it started reversing, going backwards down the mountain at a really high speed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The scene just turned into chaos. Chairs were violently smashing into each other at the bottom terminal. People were actually thrown from their chairs as they crashed into the mechanism or, into other chairs piling up.
It's terrifying to imagine.
Absolutely. Bystanders on the ground, seeing this nightmare unfold, were frantically yelling at people still in the lift, yelling at them to jump off.
Jump off a moving lift.
Yeah, jump before they crashed at the bottom. Video footage shows people just hanging onto their chairs, desperately waiting until they were maybe close enough to the ground to make that terrifying leap, trying to time it right.
What a horrible choice to have to make.
Unbelievable. And yet, incredibly, despite how violent and chaotic this whole accident was, it resulted in 11 injuries, described as mild, and astonishingly, no deaths, which, given the footage and the description, feels like a genuine miracle.
It really does. From maybe a broader view, this kind of incident, it really highlights that feeling of extreme vulnerability,
Yeah.
When a system that's designed for safety, something we trust, suddenly becomes the source of immediate danger. It shakes your basic trust in these engineered systems.
Absolutely.
But what's also crucial here, I think, is that despite the clear mechanical failure, it seems modern safety protocols, even if they only partly worked or people reacted, they prevented fatalities. It could have been so much worse. It kind of underscores why you need redundant safety measures and infrastructure that we just, implicitly trust every day.
That's a very important point about trust in systems, yeah. Okay, here's another story. This one about misjudgment again, and another terrifying, unexpected fall. This involves a man skiing, and he's confidently following tracks left by someone else.
Right. Common practice.
Very common, isn't it? You see tracks, you think, okay, someone went this way, must be safe. But in this case, the skier made, a potentially fatal assumption. Too late, just way too late, he realized the tracks he was following so diligently. They led directly off a sheer drop, a cliff face, over 150 feet straight down.
Oh my God, no time to stop.
None. Just unable to stop, no time to react. He just free falls off the cliff, plummeting into the snow below. And later footage, they showed the drop. You see just how incredibly steep it was. His survival, it depended entirely on how he landed in that deep snow. But given the height, the terrain, it could have very, very easily been fatal. Just a chilling reminder about deceptive appearances.
Yeah, this speaks directly to that cognitive bias. People call it herd mentality or maybe social proof, especially in dangerous terrain.
Right, following the crowd.
Exactly. What's often missed here is that following tracks, it gives you this illusion of safety, not actual safety. Every single decision you make out there, it carries huge weight. And the critical importance of actually checking the terrain yourself instead of just blindly following where someone else went. Well, you can't overstate that.
That's a powerful lesson. Personal responsibility on the slopes, isn't it? Okay, our final story for today. And this one, it really highlights the consequences of, underestimating the terrain and maybe skipping the safety gear. This incident involved a snowboarder described as inexperienced. Okay. And he decided to tackle a run called Slushmen's at Bridge or Bowl, which by all accounts is an intensely difficult slope. Really not for someone new to that kind of challenge.
All right, pushing the limits too far.
Seems like it. So he's coming up to some rocks. He knows he can't snowboard around them, so he makes a decision. Take off his board, walk past the rocks.
Okay, seems sensible enough on the surface.
Yeah, but here's where it goes wrong. As he took off his board, it started to slip away down the slope. And in that split-second reaction, that frantic attempt to grab it, he lost his balance. And he just started sliding uncontrollably down these rocky slopes. Not snow, rocks.
Well, that's bad. Very bad.
Terrible. His GoPro camera, those little action cams, it fell off, but it kept recording as he tumbled, just bounced down another few hundred feet. The footage is, as you can imagine, incredibly disorienting. Just terrifying to watch.
I can only imagine.
Later, a ski patrolman actually found the GoPro, still recording somehow. The man in the video, the snowboarder. He suffered horrific injuries. A 6 to 8 inch cut across his head, apparently right down to his brain, and a broken neck.
Oh my goodness, down to the brain.
That's what the source material indicated. And it highlights that remarkably, considering he wasn't even wearing a helmet.
No helmet on that kind of trip.
No helmet. His survival was, well, nothing short of a miracle. He could have so easily died from those injuries.
Wow. This just brings home that critical point about matching your skill level to the terrain, right? Mm-hmm. And the absolute necessity of proper safety gear.
Absolutely essential.
It's such a stark reminder. Underestimating tough conditions or skipping essential gear like a helmet, it can have truly catastrophic, life-altering consequences. This isn't just about, avoiding a scraped knee. It's about protecting your brain, your spine, when the unexpected happens. Because as all these stories show us, the unexpected, well, it happens pretty often out there.
These real-life close calls, they're just chilling, aren't they?
They really are.
From those hidden natural dangers like the crash or the tree well to terrifying machine failures and just the consequences of human misjudgment, each story is a powerful lesson. Unforgettable, really. But if there's maybe one single, really profound takeaway from all of these incidents combined, one piece of advice that maybe stands out.
What would that be?
It's this. You should never ski or snowboard alone.
Ah, the buddy system. Crucial.
Absolutely crucial. Having someone with you, someone who sees what happens, who can call for help immediately, maybe even offer some basic assistance right away, that can literally be the difference between a close call you tell stories about and, well, a fatality. It kind of moves a potential unknown into something that can at least be seen and reacted to,
That's a very good way to put it.
So as you reflect on these stories we've shared today, maybe think about this. What other activities in your own life, things that seem routine or just enjoyable, might harbor similar hidden risks? Life-threatening risks that maybe we overlook or underestimate sometimes. Where might you be relying on an illusion of safety or not thinking about those unknown unknowns?
It's a sobering thought. These accounts, yes, they're intensely frightening to hear about, but they really do serve as powerful, absolutely essential lessons. Lessons in respecting these powerful, unpredictable environments we choose to play in, and in just diligently preparing for the unexpected. They're not just survival tales, they're critical case studies in risk assessment, really.
Well said. Thank you for joining us today for these admittedly harrowing stories. We really hope they serve as a powerful reminder for you to stay safe, whatever your adventures might be. And please, if you found these stories compelling, please like, share, and subscribe to Horror Docs. That's Harm to Horror Docs. We'd appreciate it. Stay safe out there.